Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to do these LED headlights. This is I was going to clean this one, but and that's not LED. It's the halogen. And this one I already cleaned the lens on it, and I took it all the way apart. I'm going to show you how to make an oven. Heat it up, take it apart, take the lens off the front. You could even replace it with a new lens while you're doing that. But the reason we're taking it apart, these ones weren't in that bad a shape, so clean them up, made them look nice and new. As we're putting these inside, well, first of all, we're adding projector lights, and these have a little flap inside, the electronic flap that opens up, and that's your high beam, low beam. So it makes a little dark shadow on what you're seeing. You know, and you can adjust it just to the right height, and then when you put on your high beams, that flips up higher to make it the whole thing bright. And then on the front, it's got this really cool little LED light. This fits onto here, kind of hides everything. And then this LED light goes on the front. I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, so that's what the LED looks like on this BMW X1. The other one, they kind of had a simulated LED. There's one small bulb inside of there. You can see that's on, and it lights up that ring. For me, I decided to just stop right there. You could, once you have it all apart, you could add 2 projectors into there. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave the one halogen. Around where I live, I don't get to use the high beams that much. So when I do, I'm just gonna have the halogen. So here's the next thing. I had a choice of 2 different. You could use halogen bulbs in these, or you could put LED bulbs. So I had my choice of 2 different ones. There's these, which fit perfectly and easily into this projector. I'll go ahead and link this one below, and I won't make any money off. I'm just going to link it, make it easy for you to find it on Amazon. Really cheap. I think these are like a set of 2 of these. It's like $30. These bulbs, they're not that expensive either. It's like probably like $30 or $50 maybe for a set of 2. So these are not as bright, and they fit in there very easily. And this one here is a lot brighter. Well, maybe 50% brighter. Got little scratches on here. But I had to drill this hole bigger to fit that bigger shaft. See the size of the shafts there? How one's small and the other's big. So I wanted these for my low beams to be as bright as possible, since it's going to have the little shadow where it's not going to blind people. It's just going to take make sure if you do this, you spend the time when you get done to adjust it so that that line is just right. Otherwise, it's you're going to have people flashing their lights at you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I had to drill these bigger like that. I even had to file each one of the screws a little bit on the side. So it's a major pain, but it was worth it that I'm going to get the brighter light bulbs in there. So I'll take you through that process. What we're going to do is we're going to have to put this whole light into an oven. We're going to make the oven out of a cardboard box and use a heat gun and a temperature gauge, and we'll be turning on the temperature till it gets up to the high temperature we want. Then we'll turn it off while it cools down a little. Then we'll turn it on and off. We have to do that for like 10 minutes, and then we take it out real quick and pull it apart because it's like glued together. So I'll show you that next. Okay, I'm going to give you guys one more look at the before and after. Like, you can barely see it lighting up that ring there, and these lights are pretty cloudy. And this is after. It's got a real modern look to it with that ring on there and just having that projector bulb up there. Of course, you think it'd be as simple as taking the bolts out, open up the hood, take the headlight out. No way. This headlight dips down. I already did that one. You're gonna have to jack up the car, take the tire off, take this trim off. You have to pop all these little plastic things off and pretty much replace them with new ones. And then get to where you can open up this cover under here, and then there's going to be more bolts inside of there. So it's not quite that easy. Get this tire off and get all this done here. Alright, all together it took maybe 20-30 minutes to get that out. And when you do get it out, you're gonna take a box that the headlight will fit inside of. You're gonna cut a little piece of cardboard, like a little barrier. You're gonna put a hole in it. Get one of these little like thermometers. This one happens to be digital. I'm gonna put the little thing here to keep it from the heat gun from blowing directly onto the light. We're going to close it up, and I'm going to put some tape to hold the lid down. I got a hole right here, and that hole is going to be for the thermometer to go into. And I'm gonna go for 400 degrees. And we're at 122. And that's climbing. Get one of these moving blankets, like from Harbor Freight or something. And when we pull this out, like 10 minutes, maybe I'll go 350. I'm a little nervous here. We'll try that first. When I pull this out at 10 minutes at 350 degrees, then we're going to lay it over here and hurry up and pull it apart. And get some gloves ready. And some of these little plastic pry tools. Okay, we're at 200 degrees. It's been on about 5 minutes so far. Haven't shut it off yet. And yeah, it's hard to know what the reliability of these are, so I'm just gonna probably let it get to 300, then I'm gonna pull it out and try it. Worst case scenario, I'll just be wasting more tape by having to put it back in and run it some more. I'll keep going up like 50 degrees each time until it comes apart easily. And it doesn't seem to be getting much hotter than this. So, good another 5 minutes. That'll be like a total of 15 minutes from the time I started heating it. As soon as I said that, temperature just started cruising up real fast. So it's been 12 minutes. 14 minutes. Okay guys, my cameraman's on his way back, so we'll get a little bit better video of this. I took it out and it was just the right temperature, but you have to be real quick, and I have to go around with the little plastic tool around the edge, and I got a lot of it loosened up, and I'm putting it back in there one more time. When I did the other headlight, I had to do this about 3 or 4 times. So you're going to get a lot of it loose, and then it'll start to cool off and you won't be able to go any farther. Put it back in, do some more, just keep working at it until you get all the way out. Okay, it's up to 282, so I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to wait a few minutes, let the temperature come back down, then I'll turn it back on again for a little while. This looks kind of like soaking it. Heated up real fast this time. Okay, it just went below 250, so I'm going to turn it back on and put on low this time. Try and get it to kind of hold in that area, 250. Alright, this is probably how I heated it the first time. I probably had it on low, and kind of gets around 250 and just hangs there. And the garage is probably about 70 degrees, so that works out. Just do this for about 5 minutes at this temperature, then I'm going to pull it out. Gradually try to pry the seam apart all the way around the edge. I'll show you that here when I get a cameraman to do that. Okay guys, round 3. I got almost all of it loosened up. There's a couple little tough spots, but luckily my cameraman just showed up. So right after this I'll show you what I'm doing. Come on. Okay, we're at 2:43. Got my cameraman. Okay, I'm gonna shut this off. Take the tape off. Take the thermometer out so that don't fall out and get broke. Put my gloves on. Open this up. Take it out. Now you see how it's a little flexible here, the black, even that one. That's probably about the right temperature. And then I just had a few tough spots around here the last time. Kind of basically just cutting the glue that's under there. See how this is all loose over on this side? And I was here wanting to come out. It's this side right here that's still sticking. And it's not too hot, you can see I'm got it on my pants, you know, and it's not just warm. Okay, this is all unhooked now. If I can get this last part here. Trying to cut underneath of it. There we go. See how it popped loose? And now this bottom edge here is probably sticking a little. This, you almost have to take that other side out first, because this side tucks in. There we go. That's how you remove that. Thank you. Okay, the next step here, you guys, once you get it, the lens off of it, you can see like there's on the top up here, there's like heat kind of damaged the chrome. I'm using one of those cloths that comes with glasses, you know, to clean new pair of glasses. Do not use anything like a paper towel or anything like that. Don't use any glass cleaner. Just clean up all the nice shiny chrome spots with that. And this is the only time you're going to be able to be inside it, but do not get real rough with anything, because you like this up here, I know I'm just going to leave it like that, because if I go messing with it, it doesn't wipe off real easily. So if I go messing with it, it's going to peel the chrome off of there. It's a real thin like paint that they put on there. And the next part, we're going to install the projector lens. You see inside it's got the little flap, motorized flap that opens up and closes for the high beam effect, you know, or the low beam effect, where it just casts a shadow on the top view so it doesn't blind the other drivers. And then this part here is going to go in here, and of course we're not going to need this part here. So I just flipped it around to the back. What I'm going to do is remove these small screws here, and we're going to get that front part out of here, and then we're going to install this from the front, and then we're going to put a nut and a rubber washer to hold it in place on the back there. And I'm not here trying to sell anything to you guys, but this is like a security bit set. Probably also came from Harbor Freight, or maybe I bought it online. That's a very special little bit there on the end. I'll match it up with this one and remove those two screws. Now I got it zoomed in on this one. It's a 6-point star, like a tiny Torx bit. Okay, we're just basically going to remove that whole thing, and now we should be able to put the projector in from the other side. I'm going to have to remove these small little screws here, the ones that I modified. And like I said, if you use the lower output bulbs, you won't need to drill that hole bigger like that or modify those screws. Okay, I just put this rubber piece here on the back, and you see the thing that's going to cast the shadow, the little flap here. Even though you want the shadow on the top, you're mounting this with the flap on the bottom, because it's going to kind of reverse the image through that lens. So let me show you a little more here. And also with that flap in that direction, once you get all these covers on, this wire will be on the bottom. So both the wires will be on the bottom. And you can see underneath that light there's a little slot, and they'll line up with that. For this one, you got to run the wire through this little slot here. Then we got to snap all these tabs into place till it's on there nice and solid. Then we're going to have to screw all of these on here. There's 4 screws on the outside edge. It'll only screw on one way because these are on further out apart and these ones are closer together, or vice versa. And if your experience was like mine, these screws were not included, but it was cheap enough that I'm not complaining. I went ahead and found the screws. I had some. These are probably for countersink in the wood device, but these are what I'm using. And then I found you can't really tighten these screws like super tight all the way down, because then it starts pushing the LED off the other side. This must be a little bit of interference in those tabs. So just find a happy medium where it's just on there about evenly all the way around. And there's a tiny little gap and how far you tightened up each one of those screws. Make sure they're all equal. Okay, I push these wires through first in that slot that's on the bottom, and then push the whole bulb in, and I'm going to put the back plate, the one that came with it, not the one that I removed over here. I'm going to put this one on. You're going to need this washer that was included with it. Looks a little old, but there's a tab on that one end, and it lines up with the tab up there on the top. And then we'll put the nut on, and then we're going to put this on with those screws that hold that in. Okay, now I got that washer with the tab on in there. That fits in real good. Okay guys, when putting this nut on in that amount of space, trying to get your hand in that hole, I found what you should do, easiest way, is see this little black mark I put on here? That marks where, right about here is where the threads start to go on. So you're going to always have to have the nut right about in this area and start turning it to get it on there. So if you're trying from any other spot around here, it's not going to go in. So I know that's on the side with the wires. If I got this pointing right up about here, see it's still on. As I turn it, it finally comes loose. So I need to have it a little bit past where the wires are, and then I can get it to go on. So that's going to save me a lot of the fighting with my 2 fingers trying to fit down inside of this hole here while I'm doing it. Alright, I finally got it started there. I spent like 15 minutes trying to get that started. It was a pain until a little brainstorm hit me to do it that way. Now it's so tight down in here that you're not going to be able to put a socket on here. You're going to need a needle nose, and you're going to have to turn that because it keeps catching. See that spot I'm pointing to with the end there? It doesn't quite, the nut is a little bit too big for that, so you got to kind of wiggle it around, wiggle the bulb on the other side around, or the projector I should say, while you're turning that to get as tight as you can. Alright, I got that tightened up using the needle nose, and then you see I got the wires coming out there for the LED and to activate the flap for the high beam, low beam. Okay, now I got those screws on there. And like I said, I had drilled that hole bigger, so I had to slot those screws on one edge. See how I got blue colored on one screw, black on the other screw, and nothing on the other? That's because each one of those screws I had to mark and grind up just the right corner of it to make it so that it would line up when I tightened it down. Okay guys, this is where it gets more tricky. They include this little wire in there, and kind of like the locking down one for the halogen bulb. This one, we're going to have to put the wire in. It's going to have to go, once that locks down in, the wire is going to have to be back inside of here. So it's going to be tricky because we're going to be doing all that inside of this cavity way down there. And there's little tiny holes over here. Well, there's little locks there, and on that side there's holes. So we need to get those into there, and then see how that has like a, I don't know if you can see the little hook. It's not a hole, it's a slot where you push it in from one side and slide it over. So we're gonna try to get that in there with very limited space. And the bulb has that one little notch there, and there's the notch on the top over here. So that's how we'll put that in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it through sideways like that on one side and put the light bulb in. Actually, I'm going to grab it here by the side and go down and poke it through the same hole, which the camera's not going to be able to see. Okay, third try. We're putting it in kind of backwards and upside down. And this is going to work because I finally remember how I did the other one. Now I'm going to put the bulb in, pull those around, and put them in those little slots there. Well, and you can see I barely got those to hook on there, but it was actually pretty easy once I got it in the right configuration. That third try there, third configuration. And then the main plug, this one used to plug into the halogen. It's now going to plug in here. And then this comes with it, black negative. I'll have to test either the white or the red one is the brighter of the two. This is for the little LED ring. And of course that's going to plug in to that one. This other one, you hook that to the positive and negative of the high beam, and it will open up that flap when the high beams are on. Now I found something neat. This little pocket right here, I'm able to fit this module into it. I'm going to run the wires through the back though. And then I'm going to put a pull tie around the bottom to hold it from moving around. There we go. It fits in there like that. So I'm going to get my pull tie on the bottom there. Okay, let's look at the front. This is the little ring LED. And this little light here, I switched the bulb out for an LED bulb. But it's like a daytime running light, and it lights up and reflects on this little reflector out here, and it gives a simulated like a ring LED. Well, this one here is the one I want to get the power for that one, so they're both on at the same time. And that one, it's back here. I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to hook the positive and negative to the ones for that one. That way, whenever daytime running lights are on, that ring LED will be on. I've checked the power, hooking up the light bulb that was on the other one, and the one on the left here is the positive. The one on the right is the negative. And I just checked these wires. Okay, so the black's the ground, the red is the bright for the LED, and the white one is the dimmer one. Well, I mean, we're not doing all this not to be seen, so we're not going to use the white one. I'm just going to cut that little end off there. Magic. Okay, so like I said, the one on the left side here is the positive, so I'm going to tap into these wires here and solder these on. Okay, there's my connections soldered on. And there's the positive, and I did the negative further down just to make sure they didn't, I'm going to put electrical tape on, but who knows if it's going to stay on there. I just don't want them to be able to touch later on. So they're One's further down the line than the other instead of doing them side by side right up here. And for the little shadow activator or high beam, low beam, you would connect that to the positive and negative of the high beam. But I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to have low beam with the shadow, and then when it's high beam, it'll be both of them. Of course, before I get any deeper, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in to the car and make sure everything's working before I put these covers back on and reinstall it back on the car. Alright guys, so there's I don't have the lens on it. I got the lens on this one, but this one I don't have the lens on it yet. You can see it's got that, the one on the left is a little too low, and this one's probably just right, but of course it's not in there all the way, so I'm gonna have to really get that adjusted right, and should be what I want. There's this special like rubbery glue roll. I'll show you that right here. Hold on. Okay, here's a. See how it looks like a little tube? It's just like a sticky tar. That's gonna go in the seam on the base to this, and then we'll just stick this lens right into it, and it'll stick in there basically. Then of course years from now we'll have to stick it in that box oven again to get it off. Now I'm gonna sand this, you know, rough, medium, fine, until I get all this yellow off of here. And then I'm gonna put that ceramic coating on it, make it look like new. I think like $80 I could have just bought a new set of these. And that might be what you want to do. That might be all you want to do. Maybe you don't even want to put in the projector lights. Just change these out. Okay, guys, there's the lens. I got it all cleaned up. Following the instructions with the kit, where you use these different sanding pads, and then at the end you spray wet or a bottle of water, spray the lens, and polish it all up nice and smooth. After I get it glued back on to the other half, I'm going to go ahead and put the ceramic coating on it to make it have that new shine. Then one last wipe of the inside with the microfiber. I'm going to go ahead and put the that adhesive in this little seam here. And then I'll put the lens on it. Okay, I just kind of stretched it a little bit to make it a little bit thinner than the size that it came. And then when I connected it down here, I made sure I stuck both sides together. Remember, we're trying to make a watertight fit here. So when I put the lens on, I'll make sure I don't touch the inside of the lens. I'm probably going to double check this one more time, make sure I don't have any fingerprints inside. Okay, so it's together about as far as I can get it. There's you can see there's little areas where it's supposed to click in, and I can't get it all the way there yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. Like when we took it apart, pull it out, and then I'm going to squeeze it all together. That glue should be real soft then. It should be able to smash right into place. Okay, just like before, make sure you get your little cardboard in there. We're going to tape it closed. Garage is about 70 again, so I'll put it on medium heat. Just do this for about 10 minutes and pull it out and see if I can squeeze it together. Let's see, 99, 100. I got it on high. I can put it on medium, and I'll just set an alarm for like 10 minutes and come back out here. Okay, it's been like 10 minutes at low temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and see how it's doing right now. Okay, 223 degrees. Maybe 12 minutes. I got a cameraman this time. I should put my gloves down first here. Alright, let's hope it squeezes together. Just on one shot. And, oh yeah, there we go. Squeeze is there. That's the trick, you guys. It's much harder to get this on, but wasn't doing any of that when I was cold. So I'm just gonna squeeze together as much as I can. Now I'm gonna know it's nice and waterproof. That's the reason. I mean, you could just put this back together without that glue, but you don't want to do all this work and then have water get inside of it. There, that seems like the most important side over here. Okay. Now, even after I did all that, it still seems a little cloudy here, and that's where I put that ceramic wipe. You wipe that ceramic on it, and then it'll be crystal clear like brand new. Okay, just opening the doors. These are the running lights. They want to last for a moment there. And with the engine on, yeah, this camera just doesn't show the same thing that I'm seeing with my eyes, but anyway, it's ready for me to bolt the rest of this together, and you know, I'm going to take the tire back off, put all them little clips back in. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Press the like button. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe, so next time I post something it'll show up and you can decide if you want to watch it. And happy flying, everyone.